so welcome to another tutorial on Ionic Framework. My name is Ben. So in this class, we are just going to look at user input, how to style your text inputs, your paragraph inputs or text areas, buttons and stuff like that. So before we get started, if you've not subscribed, consider subscribing to this channel and don't forget to hit the like. And if you have any question, leave it in the comment section below and I'll be glad to answer. So let's get started. So to start off, Ionic is a little bit different than HTML, but of course you can use HTML the way you want, but this time we're not going to use HTML exactly. We're just going to use the flavored version of Ionic. And this is, for instance, for input, instead of just typing input the way we would do in HTML, we'll do Ion input. Now, Ion input is a wrapper to HTML, to the HTML element. It's more advanced than the HTML input in that it has additional functionality. For instance, the click event. We also have the ng model, for Angular and stuff, and so many other, including conditional class design and stuff like that. But the same things that we use, the attributes that we use on HTML are the ones that we use here. We can also use the input, there's no problem, but we are going to focus a little bit more on input, the Ionic style. So all you have to do is just to add ion dash the type of tag that you want. So in this case it's ion input, and then we also have placeholder just as usual. So placeholder, you can use a placeholder or a label. So let me just use this one. So let's say this is just to enter your first name, like that. And if we save this one and we go to our layout, you see that we have first name. Now when you click it, you can be able to add your names there. Now this way, and then there's another one we use, what we call an ion item. Now ion item is part of an ion list, but this time no list, so let's just do it inside an ion item where we can put a label. So this will wrap both the label and the input at the same location. So just do ion label like that, and in this label we're going to have first name. So the next item is our input, so ion input, and our ion input, now we'll can define anything or just leave it like that. So when you save this one and you go, once it reloads, so you have this one and you have this one. So this one starts from here. There's another way in which we can just play with this input. So you can use this kind of input, or let me comment this so it can become easier for us. I'm not deleting anything, so that you can find it on my Git repo. So we also have ion item, and we have ion label, like that, and here you have first name, and then inside our ion we have ion input. And then the label has several styling, so we have position, and we can just put floating. And when we go back to our app, when you click there, you'll see now the label goes above the text, which is the floating position. So other properties of the ion label, of ion label include color. You can put danger, because the default one is primary, so you can have danger, and as you can see, is red. You can also change the color to success or secondary, or let's say secondary. That, and everything is just like that. So you can change the color based on your theme. Remember, the one on globe, we have theme and we have variable.css, these colors here. So we have primary RGB, primary contrast RGB, primary shade. So you can also have primary shade. So by default, it comes with the primary color. So you can have warning. Let's see the warning one. There you go. So basically, that's Ion Input. The next one is comment is the next one that we need to look is Ion text area. So it's Ion text area, and this one has information. If you save it, actually I put a lot of information inside so that we can see how it looks, but now this information is still not editable because it's inside there. So let's just undo this. You can have your placeholder as usual. Hello. Write your message here. That, save it. You have write a message there, and then you can start writing and stuff like that. Now, remember, there is the Ion item that you wrap your items into, and then there are some basic wrappers or CSS that are already defined in Ionic, including the Ion padding, which adds padding on text on both sides. So you can have class Ion padding, and when you save, look at the difference. Now it has some padding on this side and some padding here as well, and also on top and even on the bottom. So if you can have maybe a p tag here saying thank you for the above, that you'll see that we have it just goes directly to the beginning. There is no padding on it, yeah. But now if you add the class IonPadding and just save it, you'll see that we have a padding on the text, as you can see. Now supposing we have a very large text, so we have p with now what you call logarithm, like that. What will happen? Will it wrap the text automatically, or what will happen? So yeah, the text is wrapped, and in case the text is not wrapped, what do? You just add the Ion class Ion text wrap. So let's also add IonPadding like that, and there you go. And if you want if you want to center the text, you just do Ion text center like that. Yeah, so basically those are some of the few things that we were supposed to learn on Ion Input. Then the other thing that we can't forget on Ion Input is the Ion button. Of course, we need a button, right? So on the button, you can just type here submit and save it. So by default, we're going to have a blue button, as you can see, small one. And a button has as well several properties. And among the properties is the color, the size, and the way it feels, like full or block, that is expand, we call it expand on Ionic. Then the fill, we have the clear, outline, and solid. Size, we have small, default, and large. And let's look at both of those button types, and then we can now proceed with something else. So in this button, let me also add a class IonPadding. Although it's not a must to use it, but let me just use it so that we can have good spacing. So here we have expand. If we say expand to full, then we're going to have a full width button, but with the padding that we had introduced. So if we remove this IonPadding, like that, then it will just go from end to end. But remember, the ion content has a padding of its own. So if you want it to cover from end to end completely, you have to remove the padding also on the ion content. So let's proceed. The next thing I want you to look is the fill property, and we can just choose outline, this one. So if you choose outline, we'll have just the outlines. Let me change this one to block. As you can see, this is a block button. So let me change it to small. Move this one so it goes back to default. As you can see, well, let's add our class. This IronPadding. Correct. We also have another property which is shape. The shape that we're going to use here is round. You can see the button now is rounded. We can also add an icon on the button, so you can have an icon here inside the button, so you can have an icon. And Ionic, they have very good high quality icons, although they're not so much, they're not so many, but they have some icons. So let me look for the icons. Here they are. And these are the kinds of icons that Ionic have. They have so many. So let me just pick any icon like this. This is how you add it. An icon name. So this is 80 circle, that is at circle outline. So if you go to this one, we have the name which comes here as an attribute. So we have at circle outline. Save it. You'll see that our app now has an icon at the beginning. You can see the icon there, right? So that is just one of the things we can do with this one, and then we can decide where we want the icon to appear. So to choose where we want it, we can just say slot, and we have start and end. Start is the beginning and end is the after everything. So if you do this, you'll see it has even added a very nice spacing. And then we can also choose end, save it, and there you go. Since it comes at the end of the text, regardless of where you put the text. And these are just some of the advantages that sometimes I see at Ionic. There's a lot of customization that has already been done for you. So use just code, add the few things here and there that are required, and you'll be ready to go. So I'll end this tutorial here. So we'll proceed in the next class on other things that we need to learn, especially on the HTML part, so that now when we'll go now to combining, getting this user input to something else, then it will become very easy. This notes or this app is already on my GitHub, so just go there, download the app, and then just follow the instructions to install, and then start running. And if you reach the point you want to maybe use a feature that we had already commented, just highlight and comment. Yeah, so let's meet in the next class. If you have not subscribed, kindly consider subscribing, and let's meet in our next class. Thank you very much.